Let us talk about the recent videos of our heroes, KDF soldiers, who have been abducted by Al-Shabbab. And the abduction is a long time one. If my memory is right, they were abducted in 2012. 2012, today is 12 years plus. They have stayed under abduction 12 years. I will never call them prisoners of war because prisoners of war are people who have been taken in by defense forces of other countries. This is a terrorist group, and the only mean of defining them is that they have been abducted. I know people say that I have inside information on Ruto government. I'm not complaining. But I beg everybody to give this particular case the seriousness it deserves. Let us not take our domestic jokes and take it on a very serious case like this one. So that is when it reminds me of the song that used to sing, uh, Legal Alien. I'm a legal alien. Where we used to say, be yourself no matter what they say. So I will be myself no matter what they say. I have no access to KDF. Neither do I have any access to its Directorate of Military Intelligence. I am only talking as somebody who has worked in the intelligence to assess it from a technical view. So it should be taken that there is any other person, be it in government, be it in the military, be it anywhere, who has discussed with me or who is pushing his or her agenda through me. When I talk about these two soldiers, these are the two that we know. There are several more who are detained by Al-Shabaab. So the case is the attention should not just be among the two. Actually, the two should represent all our KDF soldiers who have been abducted by Al-Shabaab. I think I'm clear there. In such a situation, or even when Gaza people are being released, there is more medical and intelligence gathering. If all goes well and these two and their colleagues are released, they will undergo thorough medical and intelligence debriefing. Medical is that should they be released and they are released to their families immediately, they may be having something that is called post-trauma stress disorder. So once they are released, they need to undergo treatment and counseling on post-trauma stress disorder. They may even have, but what I've seen the two, when I've seen the two, I think I'll not be wrong if I said that the two appear to be mentally well. But you see, the law of the pilot say, in God we trust, everything else we countercheck. They have to undergo, and even after they undergo psychological and social support, there will always be a follow-up. There will also be close monitoring. These are the type of people you'll find even after being released. One day he just goes and hangs himself. Remember the case of, is it Ngong, where a young man was beaten by a hyena. When he was beaten by a hyena, He has been pursuing compensation. Compensation not only for monetary purpose, but compensation so that he could attend medical and related consequential whatever. It is only recently that he was told that he had been paid. He went to Equity Bank, where he had the account he had there, which was supposed to be, the money was supposed to be sent through that account, was sent, and found that the money was not sent. This is a clear indication that somebody at KWS headquarters must have used that money and claimed that the young man took. Now, you see, out of the blues, the only hint was calling his mother and giving bye to his mother. So, when these people are released, remember, for 12 years they have not been paid. So 12 times 12, that is around 150 months salary. They'll be given that. They'll be paid other allowances, housing allowance and whatever. Even the salary of 150 months is a lot of money. We have to be very careful that the money reaches them well and safe. And also, they also need to be cancelled on financial usage. Financial usage. Uh, the best way, I would say, this best and simplest way, is to take all the 150 month salary plus gratuity and all those, and all those things put together. That would come to around 200 months salary. I would believe treasury bills and treasury bond is the best way for them to do that. But anyway, that is my observation. As I said, just looking at the video, they look healthy. I would not be surprised to learn that the Luya one has put on weight. You know, there are two. One is a Somali and the other one is a Luya. I would not be surprised if the relatives of the Luya would say that he has put on weight, more weight than when he was not in captivity. I would also say that the Somali one, he may not have put on weight because of our nature. I also belong to that group of people who have spent years without putting on weight. The only time I put on weight is when you people started watching these things and sending something in my paybill. But some of us, we are born, what do we call, slim people. And I think his being slim has got to do with that. The recording was done by Al-Shabbab. I tend to believe that the recording was recent, because if you look at the type of microphone they were using, it is the latest. It is the latest, which could not have been. You know, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions, because you can be given a video recording of somebody who died several years ago. So looking at the video, you see that the microphone that they were using is the latest type of microphone. So it shows that it was taken recent. Of course, there is the intelligence when you look at it. When he was when they were abducted, look at the Somali fellow. When he was abducted, his daughter was still very young. Now she's grown up. She has even her phone number. How did he get that number? You see, that one shows that there are some people within the country who are monitoring things for that. That is now for the intelligence. I will also say that the recording was recent, and the Al-Shabaab have the power to determine the content. You see, if you are given, okay, let me finish the sentence first and then I'll explain. The video recording was done recently, and the Al-Shabaab had the power to determine the content and the editing after shooting. In addition to that, they have even a follow-up. This lawyer, this is the third time I've seen his video. The first video he gave gave some information which was not completely right. And then the second video he recorded, he started by apologizing by saying, I said my name is this and I said ABCD, but the truth of the matter is I come from Moisbridge and my name is ABCD. After the second video, they have spent more than 7 years communicado. They have spent more than 7 years in communicado. Now this is the third for the Luhya fellow. This is the first, the third for the Luhya fellow, the first for the Warrior fellow. Now for the Luhya fellow, the first one, he had identified himself wrongly. But of course he knew that the video coming to Kenya, the true identity of him will be identified. What he did not know is that Al-Shabaab has the access to monitoring and knowing that the name he had given was not his name. That is why in the second video, he apologized and corrected himself. That means that after it was aired to Kenyans, the Al-Shabaab later realized that he had cheated them, and they told him to now correct that. I can see that the contents of the two videos, the two current videos, are friendly and soft towards the government. The last time the last time we had KDF and Al-Shabaab talking, it was not friendly. By friendly, I mean when they were recording the last time, they were attacking the commander-in-chief. I remember them saying that Uhuru only concentrates on issues of parades and whatever, without minding about his askaris who are in the hands of Al-Shabaab. But this time, they were talking well. They were saying that they were talking to Ruto, telling him that he should do something to 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 bring about their release. As a trained intelligence officer, I am asking myself, why now? Why shoot that now? The Al-Shabaab has been feeding them because you can see they are not skinny and whatever. They have been feeding them, especially for the last 7 years, without any communication and whatever. Even the immediate families had concluded that they had died. So there is a question of why are they shooting the video and uploading it? Of course, as I've said, I've discovered that the message is more friendlier than the previous attack. But then I'm sure that the Directorate of Military Intelligence must be scratching its head, trying to ask themselves a lot of questions. One of the questions I know the Directorate of Military Intelligence is asking themselves is that these people are putting on new Kenya Army uniforms. There is no cloth that you can dress for, 12 years. There's no cloth you can put on for 12 years. And if you can see that clothing, it shows that it is just brand new. If you go to any camp, you'll find okay, I know Kenya Army dress on well and whatever, but I'm very sure that if you go to any of the military camps in Kenya right now, you won't get uniforms which are as new as these people are putting on. The question is, where did the Al-Shabaab get this new uniform? The uniform has been still the same. But what I'm trying to say is that every time they want to shoot a video on Kenya Army abductees, they get new uniform. Could the uniform could their people be could our stores, military stores, be compromised? I'm sure the director of military intelligence is asking himself. I'm asking myself also, is Al-Shabaab winning? Winning. I know the pronunciation is a winning. Winning ni kushinda. Winning ni kupunguka, kudhoofika. Are they winning? Are they becoming smaller? Have they reached a place where they find that they need to now talk well to the government and have an exit plan? Or is it a Trojan horse? A Trojan horse is, okay, it's a long story, but a Trojan horse means that somebody pretends to be friendly and goes near you to attack you from the inside. Or is it a mind game? Are they playing mind game to the KDF? Now, suppose the KDF or the Ministry of Defense plays ball. Supposing the Ministry of Defense plays ball. When they plays ball, what is the ripple effect? You know, sometimes the government refuses to act on an item or two because they feel that when they act on it, usually, if there is an incident that happens, one person comes to claim for financial compensation from the government. The government sometimes may refuse to pay that person because others will come up and whatever, whereby they thought they'll pay one or two people, they find that they are paying 20 to 30 or 40 people. So that ripple effect. Suppose they now talk to the Al-Shabaab and Al-Shabaab hands over the people, whatever, and agree. What ripple effect will it have? I think I've repeated that one enough. What is the family's effects? Remember, kids were left babies. Their fathers, the kids are completed school, they are now employed. Now their fathers are coming. Uh, Within the JI-TENGE family, we had somebody of that case. He had been he had a long case which took long to be determined. But later he won the case and he was reinstated to traffic police, although he's now deceased. Fitting, imagine staying in remand for a long time, even affected his relationship with his family. There's a time he was trying to discipline his children, and his wife, my sister-in-law, would tell him that don't usilete hizo stress zako za jela hapa. I used to bring these people up without beating them up. Or are you so frustrated with whatever happened? Things like that. So you find that when they come back, there is the way the families will have. You see, the family is used for not to have them around. He is used to being in a confined place. He is used to being beaten, maybe. There is even a thing that he may talk to a child who is now working, and the child, that is why we even need the families to undergo counseling. You see, a child can tell him, baba unanisumbua na hata sio ulinisomesha. There is such things. So even after they have been reintegrated into their families, there should be a counseling mood. Remember, when a civil servant approaches 45 years, his bosses start counseling him on life after service. So why don't we even cancel these people who have been with what do you call these people who have been with bandits for all that time? Then there is the declaration of death. Okay, one of the two is a Luhya. I don't know how Somali and Muslims do, but Luhya, when he's released, he has to undergo some cleansing, whatever, because in Luhya tradition, already there is a grave that was planted, a banana plantation, to cover that he has died. So there is the cleansing, then there is also the counseling. The kids grew up. The wife grew up. The wife spent 12 years, over 10 years. That is 12, knowing that she's a widow. Now she finds that so there is a lot of counseling there, if you understand. I wanted to also insist to emphasize that by law, when one is unheard of for some time, I think 7 years, when you stay for 7 or more years without any communication, you are assumed to have been dead, and a death certificate can be produced. Why do they produce death certificates? They produce the death certificate because if you have properties, the properties can be handed over to the next of kin. And for a place like the military, you have to be struck off records. You have to be struck off records. Now, believing that your person is dead and he comes back, you have seen among Luos and Luhyas, whereas people have buried somebody believing that it was their relative, and then the relative comes, is not even supposed to be in the compound, such and such. I think there is a lot the government should do that, should they be released. That is why a person who has been absent for long, I think it is 7 years, that is declared dead, and the various things that should have been done to his next of kin, that the next of kin should also undergo because of what they are going through. The family needs psychological support now. You see, they have been taking these people to be dead. So just knowing that they are still alive, they need psychological support. They also need psychological support, as I've said repeatedly, after these people have been released, because reintegration would be a bit of a challenge. So there needs rehabilitation, both the abductees and their families. You can see that these recent videos was different from the other one. I remember there was even another case where a soldier was told, was talking, and he said, this is the same place. He was talking that Uhuru was minding more about parades and whatever, and in my death, it should be blamed on Uhuru, whatever, whatever. And then when he completed, he bent down and kept quiet. And the next time he was shot and killed on camera. So this one is a bit friendlier, and it's a bit friendly, and Kenyans should be optimistic. And I ask for Kenyans, irrespective of our background, tribal, regional, religious, or anything, we need to be united in this. This is our hero. These are people who have suffered. And you see, suffering is not just death or anything. Remember, just imagine a girl or a boy that is a children to him, who may have studied in a better circumstance, where the father would pay fees, where they would have their father's love, parental love. Now they had half parental love from the mother. That is one. But even the mother who was giving them the parental love, she was giving that when she herself was under stress because of the the loss, the disappearance of her husband. Thank you.